We see the victories people post online, the promotions, the smiling vacations, the perfectly curated moments of happiness. But what we don't often see is the unseen battle. The quiet, relentless struggle that happens behind closed doors, in the middle of the night, or in the silent spaces between breaths. This is the story of Sarah, a woman who discovered that true strength isn't about fighting alone. It's about finding the courage to ask for help. Sarah lived in a small, modern flat in London. To anyone looking in, her life was a success. She was a talented graphic designer, her portfolio filled with clean, beautiful work for major clients. Her mornings started with a trendy workout class, followed by a double-shot espresso, and her days were spent in a bright, bustling studio. She was always smiling. She was always busy. But beneath the surface, there was a feeling she couldn't outrun, a feeling that something was wrong. It started small, a racing heart before a big presentation, a sense of dread that would suddenly appear out of nowhere. But over time, the feeling grew. It became a constant companion, a shadow that followed her everywhere. It was in her morning coffee. It was in the silence after her friends left. She would spend her days pretending everything was fine, pretending to be the smiling, successful person everyone expected her to be. But her nights were a different story. One night, it all came to a head. The anxiety wasn't a shadow anymore. It was a storm. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. Her mind was racing, a non-stop caffeine buzz of worry and fear that felt completely out of her control. She looked at her phone, the contacts full of friends and family, but she couldn't bring herself to call. She felt a deep, overwhelming sense of shame. She thought, "They'll think I'm weak. They'll think I'm a fraud. I'm supposed to be strong." She truly believed she was the only one who felt this way. The echoes of a past she had never fully processed were now louder than ever. But something in her changed that night. Buried beneath the fear, a tiny voice of survival whispered to her. It told her she was a fighter, and that part of being a fighter is accepting the help and love you deserve. With shaking hands, she dialed a number she had written down months ago, a number for a local mental health support group she had seen on a flyer. A woman named Emily answered the phone, her voice soft and understanding. Sarah didn't have to pretend anymore. The next few months were not a quick fix. There was no magical cure. They were a slow, deliberate journey, one small step at a time. Sarah started going to the support group. At first, she just listened. But as she heard other people talk about their struggles, their pain, their silent battles, she realized she wasn't alone. For the first time, she felt normal. She began to talk, and in that act of sharing, she started to heal. She found that expressing herself creatively, through writing and art, was a way to give voice to her feelings that words couldn't always capture. The person who came out of that journey wasn't a perfect, flawless version of herself. It was a person who had learned to talk about her disorder, to share her story, and to realize that there is life outside of a diagnosis. Her life didn't become suddenly free of anxiety, but she learned coping mechanisms. The storm still came, but she no longer had to face it alone. She had found a community that helped her feel loved and lovable. She had found purpose in her adversity. Maybe you're like Sarah. You're fighting a silent battle, and you're afraid to ask for help because you think it's a sign of weakness. But what if we told you that's not true? The real weakness is to suffer in silence, believing you're alone in your struggle. The truth is, there is immense courage in saying, "I need help." There is strength in vulnerability. No matter what your unseen battle is, anxiety, loneliness, depression, or fear, know that you are not alone. and you are worth the effort it takes to get better.